Hi Legion, John Hitler from Evoking Genius with another CEO hack. And if you're wondering, yes, that really is my name. I'm a CEO coach helping scaling businesses. Here's what we got for you today. We've got a case study that may affect you. Ever had stalled growth? Like you're going like this and all of a sudden your growth goes flat? You're killing it. And then everything seems to peter out a little. It happens. It happens a lot in companies that are growing rapidly. And here's the trick. It rarely has to do with your sales process. It's almost always something else. If you're ready, let's spin the big wheel. So let's get some specifics about this company. Been working with them for 3 years. We started in 2022. They were at about 25 million and 30 team members. Fast forward to 2024, they're at 120 team members and about almost $70 million expected this year. That's rapid growth. Wow, congratulations to them. They're doing great. But somewhere along the lines, amidst all the excitement, they had engaged, as one of their scaling techniques, strategic small acquisitions. So they were taking on people in their industry that had a product that they didn't have and then cross-selling. Great strategy. Super excitement, lots of opportunities, lots of growth. And then here's mysteriously what happened. They hit some chokeholds. And they started seeing siloed behaviors among teams, and then factions and rivalries. And they had never had that. They asked us to come in and diagnose and solve that problem, because when your growth stalls, your momentum stalls. Huge problem, and it may have affected you. Well, here's what we did. We asked a ton of questions. And most of those questions were on their structure, not their culture. Because they were excited. They had a good culture, good enough, certainly functional to succeed. Well, consider this. Here's what we came out with after about a month of working with various leaders and teams. We realized that when they acquired a new team, they kept their comp structure in place. So we acquired you, and you paid people this way. We said, great, let's just keep that in place for continuity and for stability. Fair enough. But here's the problem. If that comp structure was different than everyone else's, better or worse, it created comparisons. So the newly acquired team said, we appreciate you giving us our same comp structure, but it's less than we would make if we were on their team. So basically, we're getting demoted. Or, even worse, the big organization, 100 people, would acquire a 15-person team, and that 15-person team had a higher comp structure. So now the new guys, as it were making more than the acquiring team, and it felt like a rivalry. Siloed behaviors followed, factions, rivalries, and that's all based on structure, not culture. Culture does not shift behaviors. Be very clear if your company is scaling. Your culture has very little to do with shifting behaviors. Here's why. If, let's say, our highest value has to do with accountability, cool, do what you say, or keep your promise, some version of that. If you never learned to do that by the time you were 10 years old, we aren't going to make you brilliant at that when you're 30. Just because we have it as a corporate value doesn't mean that you're great at being accountable if you've never really mastered that. Some people are great at keeping promises, and when they can't keep it, they let you know that's accountability. If you've never learned that, we're going to have a hard time teaching it to you. So throw out the culture for the moment. But now here's what does shift behaviors in organizations. Structure. The way we say it is, culture eats strategy for lunch. Structure eats culture for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and late night snacks. Because watch this. What we did with them is we said that the way to get their revenue moving again and their growth moving again was to align the comp structure and the incentives, the pay incentives, from top to bottom. So from the head of the board to the midnight janitor who comes in and cleans the toilets while you're not there, have everyone incentivized and compensated with one goal in mind. Not obvious. People think it's a sales thing. Say, we need to send our sales guys to sales training. No, salespeople were fully capable of doing it. But it was a disincentive or a penalty for someone every time I sold something or you sold something. Because if you made more than I did when you sold something, I was unhappy. Or if I made more than you did, you were unhappy. We weren't aligned. And here's how we solved it. It took us about 90 days with the CFO and with the senior leadership team to propose an aligned compensation structure that had everyone playing for the exact same incentives. Here was our proposal. Have, based on your rank, so the senior people get a fixed bonus if we hit all our metrics. All of them, not some of them. And we'll call that X. One level below that in the team, you get a little bit less because you're at a lower level, but it's a fixed bonus and everyone knows it. And just like that all the way down the line. But we have to all hit our same company metrics. Cool. And then if we do that, you have what we called a Super Bowl bonus. Now, if you're the star quarterback of a Super Bowl team, you're Patrick Mahomes and you're making $50 million, and I'm a rookie making the rookie minimum of $400,000, we play on the same team. I'm paid $400,000, you're paid $50 million, more than about 120 times what I'm paid. But when we win the Super Bowl, there's a pot that we get, a bonus that we get, and it's divided evenly by every member of the staff, coaching, the training staff, the PTs, and the players. Everybody gets a set equal amount. That's what we propose because that's the bonus that'll have them all play on the same team because we all get the same thing. So of course now I'll happily help you close your deal because it helps all of us get our bonus. We're all aligned on that. The board will support things that do that as well. So that was the first thing we did. We aligned the comp and incentive structure so that everybody had clear motivation and ambition to play on the same team and help each other. That cleaned up a lot. Now remember, that's structure, not culture. You can do it with your legal structure. You can do it with your organizational structure. You can do it with your pay structure. Anything that traditionally has the word structure attached to it changes human behavior. Because guess what? Your kid needs braces and private school tuition, so does mine. So we'll happily work together if both of our kids get that. We'll also happily work together if I get it and you don't. I'm okay with that, but I won't be okay with it if you get it and I don't. So we need to have it all aligned. And that cleaned up a lot of message. But there was one other thing going on here. And this is the framework we have that you can download. Click below. You can subscribe to whatever you want. There's all kinds of options that are helpful and free, including the downloads. The download, we'll call it income, equity, or control. It's a very simple framework, a very, very simple idea that when you're running a company, you can only run it based on one of three orientations: equity, income, or control. I'll take control first because most scaling companies don't do that. Control is usually associated with family businesses. Grandpa started the business in the 50s, retired around 2000, handed it off to the next generation. They've run it since then, and now you're the next generation just about ready to take over. But here's the problem. Grandpa's still alive, and when you do something that he doesn't like, he still has a pocket veto. He still controls all of the social power in the organization, even though he doesn't work there and he hasn't for 20 years. And then you go to the next generation, and you're the kids, or you're the grandkids generation. Dad still can tell you what to do, or your mom can say, I know you don't like working with your brother, but you got to keep him on payroll because he's family. That's a control organization. We're going to throw that one out for now. The two that most companies deal with are income or equity. Income's the simplest. You make a ton of money and you essentially bonus it out in compensation. It's a great strategy if that's what you want to do. Your company won't be worth a lot, but the employees will be well paid along the way. You see it often. What this company was claiming is that they were running an equity game. And equity is just the opposite of income. You make a bunch of money and you save it for strategic investments, increasing your ability to produce more product and sell, and ideally for a liquidity event 3 to 5 years from now. It's a different strategy. You're saying, we'll pay you along the way, but we're not paying huge bonuses. We're going to save that money, and in their case, we'll make another acquisition for cash, which will pay us on a multiple when we sell to a private equity group or in a merger. We get a gigantic check 5 years from now. That's an equity play. And here's what this company was doing, thinking they were running an equity play. They loved the merger and acquisition space. They loved building the company value, and they were playing for, ostensibly, a big check. But here's what they did this year when they got their largest deal ever closed. They made their biggest bonuses ever and paid out a ton of money. And it was confusing because they paid it to the people who worked on the deal, not everybody equally. So some people were highly compensated because they worked on this big deal. Other people got a token bonus, and guess what? It pissed off all the people that didn't get bonused for doing good work every day. They just weren't part of that deal. That was maybe 10% of the organization got highly bonused, and 90% got a token. Oh, wait a minute. And then in their head they're saying, I thought we were going to save the money for our next acquisition, but you bonused it out to a select few. Can you see how you get silos or factions, or as they called it, chokeholds? People start saying, well, then only put me on the big deals. I don't want to work on the small deals because you don't pay the people. You don't bonus the people. That's all remedied by aligning your comp structure to be clearly an equity-based business. And that's what they did. So that's now in place. Now they understand they're going to now work with what we call Super Bowl bonuses, where everybody gets a set amount when we hit our agreed upon annual goals, and we're all playing for a 3 to 5 year liquidity event. Here's the other problem that solves. For people that want to just come in, make a quick buck and leave, they won't benefit from that, because if we're playing a 3 to 5 year game, they can weed those people out at the hiring point. Because if you say, I tend to move every year to 18 months to the best opportunity, you'll hate their place. Because you're going to get paid well, but you're not ever going to share in the big check. Knowing whether you're an income, equity, or control-based company solves all kinds of problems. Now that's the download we have for you. It tells you how to do that, how to think about it, what are the hallmarks, what are the trade-offs. And if you need help instituting that, just click and we'll happily schedule a 30-minute call and run you through it so that you can do it in your own organization. Thank you for tuning in today. You can find us everywhere, on X, LinkedIn, YouTube. We call it CEO Hacks. Again, my name is John Hitler, and that is my real name. I look forward to seeing you down the road.